Hello, so this is the first of 3 videos on custom states. States store information. The easiest state is a yes-no state. We can use it to display elements or to trigger workflows. Let's try this above. Imagine we have several elements all in green and several all in blue, and when we click show green we only want to see the green, we click hide green we only want to see the blue. How do we do that? First, let's create a state. The best way to do this, we go on any element, such as this group, and we click the I button up here, and we click add a new custom state, as I've done. I've called it show green, I've selected type yes no, and the default value on page load is no. Now when we click the button, we can edit its workflow and use element actions set state, as I've done here. Select the group where I created the state, select the state, and make it yes. By the way, you could also create a new custom state here. We can right click here, copy the state, and for the button hide green, we can paste it, but set it to no instead. Now for all the elements, we can make them invisible on page load and add a condition here. When group greens show green is yes, make them visible. Again, we can right click and copy the condition and paste it to all of those elements. For the blue ones, however, we can change it to no. So let's check how this looks in a preview. Default value was no, therefore we see the blue. When we click show green, we see the green, hide green, blue. It works. We can actually also use a yes-no state to trigger a workflow. To do this, we go on workflow, and here go on this empty box and click do when condition is true, as I've done here. When group greens show green is yes, and here we can also click do this once or every time this is true. And here, for example, what we could do is we could send an email, and we could then set the state back to no. So to sum it up, custom states store information such as yes, no, which we used here to hide or show multiple elements or to trigger the email being sent. For more tips on custom states, check our site tiplister.com. Cheers.